What's going on, everybody? This is here, definitely a series that I started. I call it Moments in Truth. My life, my story, real talk. That's what I call it. Just to give y'all a breakdown of it first, I kind of started it per my little bit. I started it on uh, Facebook, and I'm under Relly Smith. If anybody wanted to go see, because I did start a few of them up there, just trying to get it started. It's just basically talking about stuff in my life. You know what I'm saying? And relating it, using certain situations to relate to myself or anything I went through. And just trying to inspire, others and people around. It may take, it takes a while, but sometimes I don't know if anybody ever been in this situation, but in today's topic will let you know what I mean. But I've I was a kid who was born. I was born in '84. I'm a Capricorn. January. But my mom, growing up, she had allowed me to know. She had put me on a pedestal. What that Now at first I didn't get what that mean. A while back I didn't understand that, but once she told me, we broke it down. It's basically giving you to God. You know what I'm saying? Basically, it's you know, it was her saying, like, this is your child. This is not mine. Do what you will with him. And make sure he does your will. Wherever he goes, roam with him. And I was a kid who did have a calling, in my life. But the problem was, you know, I didn't want to do it. And we got to be honest about this, because I want people to understand, I'm not holding them down. I'm not none of that. And I don't try to get religious, because it's real. We got to be careful with that, because that'll cause a division in the minds of a lot of us today. And not many of us, we're not perfect. No one's better than nobody. But what I want to say is when you do have a calling on your life, what happens is, and you don't answer it, let's just say somewhere along the road, God done gave us many chances to answer it. He done brought plenty of people around. I had people coming around me when I was, I'm gonna say, when it was coming out of the, coming out nowhere, out of the woodworks, they was coming from, I seen them pull up, and you know how the people see you out, and they be like, yo, brother, let me talk to you. So they got a word or they got a paper to give you. And I used to always try to avoid it. You know what I mean? Because I never will understand, because they will come. The only thing I didn't get is they will come to me. But then I look at them like, and I be like, well, they over there. Like, why you won't go get them? Don't you see them? Don't you see the few right there? Why me? But you know what? One day, I was even speaking with my mom one day, and and we had a conversation. And I remember saying to her, I was like, but mom, why me? And my mom said, why not you? You don't, a lot of things we don't know why God is, doing what he does. And we may not understand why we have to do it. But who are we to question God on why we have to? It's either we gonna do it or we ain't. But we gotta remember this though. Sometimes the things that God need us to do when we're called, if we don't do them, there's pain that can be caused to us and people around us, because we're not doing it. You know what I mean? And we're gonna take, I call this series, part two, only because, like I said, if you want to look at the other ones on Facebook, it's Relly Smith. They are public. You can go up there to see the couple that I started with. But this right here, this one I figured I was actually going to start with I was going to come with one that was called Psalms 37. But the reason why I didn't is because for some reason, I was just sitting there, and I'm thinking again, and then boom, it popped in my head like Jonah. And I definitely could relate to him. You understand what I'm saying? So let's definitely get to that. And now, what I call this today is called running from God like Jonah. All right. Now, the reason why I call it that is because I feel like I've been doing that. All right. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I don't want to use them. I want to use me. All right. This is why I call it Moments in Truth, because it's pretty much based on me and based on, everything that was connected to me. And now with all this happening, it's pushing me in a direction where God wants me to be. All right. Now, if if none of y'all never read the story Jonah, I'm sure plenty of people have heard of it. I need y'all to understand. Jonah was told to go do something by God. All right. And the reason why he was told to go do it, well, you got to understand, he was someone that I'm sure God know that people confided in. So God chose him and told him specifically what to go do, and he didn't do it. He started running. All right. Now, if you go into Jonah 1:2, it says God told him, go to the great city, Nineveh, and preach against it because their wickedness has rose up against me. Now, he's telling him that because it's right before his face. And at time, God be having so much mercy with us, but sometimes he's getting tired. So, he'll elect certain people to come around to assist us and to help us and to get us to where we need to be. Not only that, sometimes he might send somebody where they got a message for us, where it's meant to get to us, but we don't ever want to listen. All right, we get ignorant. We start, we probably start acting like we got too many things in the way, like it's work in the way, school in the way, all this stuff, right? But when God says something, doesn't he know that stuff is in the way? But to him, it's not in the way. You know what I mean? Because without him anyway, none of that stuff is going to work well. You know what I mean? So I feel I'm one, like Jonah, because I have, try to avoid doing it. I've always encouraged people in my life and always done that, always shared the word, just like others did with me and gave me advice, and many of them did. And I appreciate y'all. But I just kept running. You know what I mean? And so now I'm going to use this, right? And I want to use this because when I call him was young. All right. So let's just, I'm going to play Jonah for now. So remember, now if God told him, go to Nineveh, preach unto the city, because their wickedness rose up against me. All right. Cool. Now, if God is at the time when he was coming for me, when I had all these people, trying to share the word with me and, offer me to, go to church and stuff like that, I did everything in my power to avoid. I won't even lie to y'all right now. I did everything in my power. There were times like brothers would call the phone and service would be going, and they'll just be on the phone and they'll call me and I'll just watch it ring. Like, nah, no. Why? Because I wanted to go do what I wanted to do. But see, that's what we go wrong at. That's what we go wrong right there. When you want to do what you want to do and not doing what God told you to do. Well, just know a roadblock gonna come, right? Right? And we know that because of what happened with Jonah, right? All right. Now, when you go in to Jonah 1:3, what does he say? He said he ran away from God to Tarshish, right? So he went to Joppa where he found a ship, for that port. And basically it was just like we do. Like we go and, pay a fare, get on a train and then hop one side and to get to the other town. He made his way to Tarshish. He made his way. All right. So he got, I don't understand. And this is crazy because it relates to me in so many ways. Watch. So he does that. He flees. Now me, I was always, like, put it like this. There's times where I get phone calls, from some of my brothers, in Christ and stuff like that. And I'll be somewhere in sin, basically. You know what I mean? I'll be at, some females fornicate. Like, y'all know how this goes, right? That's still running, right? And that's what I was doing because I was using it as a running ticket. But I realized that God was catching on. Like, God not stupid. And one thing with him is either you're gonna do it or you don't. That's just it. When you gotta call you, it's like it has to get through you because see, the thing is, it's not about us. It's not at all, and it never was. What it is it's things that around us that are embedded to us, to where we are like the root. We're like the foundation of the water. All right. So if without us, they're not gonna get the proper water. They're not gonna get it. They just won't. So God has to use specific people to go and deliver it. There you go. But for me, I ain't want to do it. And I'm being honest. I didn't want to do it. No, I ain't want to do. No, no, no. It's not that I ain't want to preach. It's not that I didn't, you know, wanted to change my ways. Because a lot of times, certain ways too does keep us humble. Excuse me. It keeps us stuck in a position where we can't go on and do God's will. We can't, because we're too busy indulging in the same old mess. So, I find myself sometimes, and I'm being honest, this is why I call it moments of truth. I find myself at times, you know, um, still indulging in drinks, still indulging, in smoking, the weed and stuff, still indulging in, having the wrong company, what I mean, keeping the wrong company around. It's just when I notice when we indulging in these things like that, and it's like we're using them, to keep us from doing what we really, what I mean. If I had a 9 times out of 10 when the brothers would come out when I was younger and they'll speak to me, there'd be times I'm going to the store and I'm coming right out, with a blunt or something, and then boom, hey brother, let me speak to you about the word of God. Da, da, da. So what do we do? Excuse me. What do we do? Me personally, I was trying to avoid it. I was trying everything in my power to avoid it. But I gotta tell you all this. You can't avoid God. It's just not gonna happen. Forget about it. Look how, and the thing is too, like a lot of us gotta realize sometimes maybe we fear and think that, well, you send me over here, and you ask me to preach, man, how you know they ain't gonna swallow me up? They ain't, gonna listen. First of all, why we worried about that? You know what I mean? Because God has blessed us with a spirit, not of fear, but of love and a sound mind. You know what I mean? So he didn't give us a spirit of fear. So what we fearing for? And he also says in his word, don't fret, because it'll only bring harm. So when we start to worry already beforehand, that's just gonna mess with us, mess with our thoughts, mess with the character. Just ain't gonna, like, we're not gonna like really walk the way we're supposed to walk when they come to God at the end of the day. And that's what was going on with me. All right. So he was always bringing people around to just grab me from like running, like, or just, going into the wrong mess. And sometimes we don't see it. There's so much that here, and the reason why I'm sharing this is because I felt like Jonah for a long time now. That's exactly what I felt like. And I've been running, and I'll run. But you can't hide from God. You're not gonna get nowhere. He knows you're gonna go there before you go there. He already knew it. He already knew like that would come about. What I'm learning now is, if we learn to just take heed and listen when God is speaking, because I felt like through people when he sent them, he was trying to speak, but he was trying to save me. But at the same time, he's trying to use me to better what's around me. You understand what I'm saying? He's trying to use me to bring healing to a city or to a state or to a family or to a household. There is a way that he was moving me when the trials did come from me. And if you listen in to my moments of truth, you will hear about a lot of them. There was a way that through them trials, he was moving me out, and he was moving me out of it, all the mess that was around me, because I would pretty much indulge myself in so much mess. I probably would have forgot the plan and got hurt, and probably wouldn't have made it there. And now that, I must say that it's a blessing to be able to do this, because think, like, for instance, for anyone that, I want y'all to hear this real quick. In 1 Corinthians 10:13, right? And it says this because, again, a lot of us fear and may think, we can't do it because this there or that there, or, no, we shouldn't be like that, right? But he says, no temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. And God is faithful. And this is Paul talking to the people. And I'm in Corinthians. He said, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when tempted, he will provide a way out for you to endure it. Now, obviously, Jonah didn't understand that. But if you also go on to read in the book of Jonah, he also had came to a point where he noticed that he was with some people. He noticed that everything that was happening was because God, he knew God told him to do something, but he didn't go do it. So when he started seeing all this thing happening, and the next thing was, it was on the boat when the storm rised up against him and the people, he told them, just throw me over the boat, right? He's telling them, just throw me over, just go ahead. You know why? Because he knew, man, all this happening because of me. So now I realized I had to look at my life, and I had to look at things that started happening. I went through in these couple let's say since this new year started, I had so much happen. You know, losing a job or losing in touch with family, family turning on you, kids being upset with you. Um, 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 I lost money, I lost the place to live, and I lost everything. All right, I didn't understand why a lot of that was happening. I didn't. I didn't get it. But then I started to realize maybe now, it took a while for me to gather it in my thoughts, but I realize now the reason why I went through all that is because one, God allowed it, because you got to understand all things work together according to those who are called according to his purpose, right? That's just what it does. I finally figured the fact that the reason why all that stuff that happened with me and everything turned, I'm doing all that. What God is doing was he was trying to refix me. But at the same time, he has to take this stuff, which he knows in his heart, like, okay, I'm going to allow all this to happen because I want this to push him over to me so I can finish the work I started in him. Because one thing with God, anything he starts in you, he's not going to just say, all right, that's a no, we're not doing it. I ain't finishing. No, 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 no. When God started working you, he going to finish it. So I felt like he started to work, which he did start to work in me. I try to avoid it. I try to run just by living my life, doing what I want, being lusting a lot, and just living, being in the wrong places, just being carnal minded, being, more of the world than of him. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not that I was choosing that to fit in. It's just that I did not want to go do it. That's just the truth. But see, now why I understand, see why when I lost everything, and that's what happens. That's what happens. He will take it from you. He'll take everything from you. You don't want to listen. Oh, yeah. You see what happened to Jonah? He ain't even noticed when God had sent the three others to him. We really don't pay attention. We don't see why God is really needing us to go ahead and go do whatever he's calling us to do, because there are people out there in which it's really meant for God's glory. It's not for ours. But there are people out there who don't have hope that we probably bring the hope to, that our life is a reflection of just hope because of so much pain that we encountered. But if we don't realize that, if you someone that like lost a lot of stuff in a small amount of period of time, just know that God allowed that because it was a reason and there's a bigger blessing coming. But he did that because to get us back on the road to where we belong. We belong to him. We don't belong to the world. We belong to him. We forget that. When we go and give our life to Christ and stuff, you become a new creature. All things, all the old things pass away, or, it's new beginnings. It's new stuff. It's never that. That's how God works. So when he had changed me and when I was giving my life, and I remember going a few times and, because we all backslid, I did a few of those a lot. And I always, if one thing I know, I always just knew that having a connection to him, as far as prayer go and everything else, would keep me tied into him. But still, when you want to go do what you want to do and not doing what he want to do, and now I realize you can't just do it for one day and then look, God, I did this for today. I did your word today. I preached today. I gave some out. Now I'm gonna go out and just go ahead and act the way I want to act. I realize with God, you can't do that, because what happens is now, and I don't want to preach out, and that's why I don't want to use too much word, because it's more of the wisdom and having the wiseness to understand why God is allowing the stuff to happen. Why he even, why did he allow that major storm to come up against me like that? Where I lost everything, where I lost, the intact with the family and the kids and the relationship, the money, the jobs. Like, why did I? Because I wasn't listening. don't listen sometimes. And I'm just being honest because it's like we just want to do what we want, but it's not about us. It never was. We were all born to glorify God and do his will anyway. And remember, Christ made it clear, when he was speaking to his disciples, like all of us got to go and preach the gospel. We all have to do that. It may not have to be in the church, but you may got to do it while you at work with the fire department. You might supposed to be doing it while you at work at the police department. You might got to do it while you at the work at the hospital or at the mental hospital where the people are, or just where the leukemia patients are, or just those that where they're broken. Or what about the homeless, the ones in the street who are homeless, who are losing their hope? We're it's like we're giving them what a lot of us, we give people what they want and not what they need. And I think that's what we go wrong at. And I feel like God, what he's trying to do to me is he's trying to use me to heal a place in the cold world that we live in. Okay. Yes, it's plenty of people that he can choose. But if he chooses us, that's a special thing in his eyes. That doesn't make us better than the next person. No, not at all. Not at all. But it means that he knows the thoughts and plans that he has for us, like in Jeremiah that he spoke. He does. It's not this. A lot of times, like I said, I ran because I wanted to do what I want. I was indulging too much in trying to be outside with the homies and the fellas, you know what I mean? And much love to them, there's nothing hate, but and I wanted to indulge in with the women, with the sex and all that and stuff, and doing too much of that. Man, all that does is just all that did was, it was lovely, but it had me blinded. I was blinding myself. So I didn't take the time to realize that, all that what I was doing, I was playing Jonah. I'm over here running there, running out, over there, like I'm playing Jonah. And God, he's like, where's you going? Where are you going? You're not going. Like, I see everywhere you're gonna go. Hey, I know you're gonna go next one. Like, it's like with God, it's like, look, what he meant for you is good. It's never bad. That's why we get confused. And I think a lot of times we allow emotions to get in the way, and it plays in with when our character starts to shift out, and we want to do what the rest of the world is doing. Now that doesn't make us like, you got to understand, everybody has God in them, but they got to wake God up on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like, but what if those people are around the wrong people and they can't, seem to tap into it? So what God does is, you know what? I'm gonna use, because my name's Terrell, so I'm senior and my son's junior. Shout out to my family. He probably was like, I'm gonna use Terrell. Because a lot of times you got to remember, God will use the weak things of the world and turn them into something strong, and he'll use them right in that bracket. When I felt like I was just too weak for that stuff, I felt like I wasn't strong enough for that. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, that ain't me. You gotta go. I ain't no Creflo. I ain't no TD Jake. I ain't no Joel Osteen. What are you talking about? I don't. But you know what? Funny thing is when you get people, okay, that tell you you're inspiring, that tell you, your words done help them, go on the road to not thinking of, basically not giving up. You know what I'm saying? When you done inspired someone or women who felt like they couldn't be no mothers, but you pushed them and told them that the God in them is going to help them be that, and that they are going to do that. And when you could remember all that, in which even a few of your friends are letting you know just by these blog talks. I had a few that came to me, and and one that really touched me. One lady, and it's love to her. She said, "Whatever God is doing in you, let him do it." You know what I mean? And then I had another brother that came out and said, he been going to everybody, asking him stuff, asking him about a situation he was going through, and he watched one of my blogs, and it incident like that. That touches the heart, And then I had another brother who, he lost his father, and before he lost his pop, he was thinking negative and everything else. And he said he saw one of my blogs, and it made him change his thought, and it made him think. That means you were destined. That there is that whatever I realized, that God had stuff in me that I didn't know I had in me. That he really wanted me to see. You're more, you're a lot more greater than what you think you are. And see, none of us can be greater than God. Remember that. Never. Because only one is great, like Christ said, and that's just God himself. But I realized what God was trying to teach me is that, listen, there's too much good in you to let you just think that I'm going to sit here and let you indulge in this. I don't watch you indulge for years. You ain't get nothing. What did you get out of it? Nothing. And you know what? I got nothing out of it, guys. Nothing at all. Running from God is not going to make us better at all. All right. And again, I'm definitely was a Jonah. And he did come and save me. Yes, he did. He came and swooped me up. Things are getting better, but he did come for me. He did come. He sent, you got to understand, God sometimes will send people. He'll put it on their heart. He put it in their spirit. He might give them a dream. He might show them something and be like, go get him, or go get her. Like, there's a way that God will do something. Like, but the point that I'm trying to make is that I'm learning is, when God just called us to do something, we got to stop playing, Jonah. We got to stop running. We got to stop running. No need to keep running. What are we running for? If God is for us, who can be against us? Greater is he that is in me than the man that's in the world. Then what are we doing? What are we doing? I have to ask myself this stuff every day, because I realize a lot of my life got damaged because of me. And yes, I may not have been guided the right way, but it's okay. At least when you're a man enough and you can see that, that's a blessing itself. And the reason why I'm a smile is because things could be much more worse than what they are now, but I see what God is doing. He's cleaning me out, getting me prepared for whatever it is I got to do for him. You know why? No more being Jonah. It's over. So for anybody out there, I inspire you and I encourage you to know that if you feel like that every time you turned around, something was happening, and it just keep this thing, that thing, this thing, that thing. You know what that means? That means that God he's not knocking through the problem. He's trying to wake you up. So sometimes he has to allow things to come in our direction, whatever they are, whether it's bad or not. But sometimes those trials are only to make us better, because where he about to take us, well, some people can't go with us. They can't go. They weren't. They weren't. It's not that they weren't made for it. It's just God chose you to do it. So the only thing, the only way that things around probably that will only get better is through you, because you're like the main foundation, the main source, the main water. But we know that our God, his word is the water. That's why he says a man should not live off bread alone, but live off every living word of God. That's why, like, without God's word, we ain't gonna be able to live properly anyway. I mean, think about it. Even though a lot of us got it, we don't store it in our hearts. A lot of times it's just on the surface of our mind. But the thing that I want y'all to know is that, don't be no more Jonahs. Let's all, if we got inspired for each other, pray for each other. I'm tired of being a Jonah. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I think a lot of us been running too much, and I'm one of them. I'm definitely one of them, where I was fortunate. He blessed me a lot in so many things. And I think it's time to give back, what belongs to him. And that's me. I've always belonged to him. I've never, I think we got to realize that no matter how many mistakes you made, no matter what you went through, no matter what happened, just know if it happened, God allowed it to happen so it could bring out the best that's in you. There's too much good in a lot of us that God installed, and we ain't paying attention to it. So we're putting on all this extra stuff, and we're building other stuff on top of it. And how God is, he's the only great. He's not having it. You got to understand, like, it's just when you got a calling, you got to answer. Because think about it, when we pray to him, we call him in our situations, he's answering us and still was blessing us, giving us things that we need. Like, he was doing that. So I feel like I don't want to be Jonah no more. You know what I mean? Because it's time now to go and do what he needs me to do. It's too much hurt in this world. It's too many people that lost their hope, who feel like God is not here no more. And you got to understand, ladies and gents, it's many of us that got God in us, and he's trying to use us to bring him back on scene. Because some people still can't see him because they're looking at a lot of the pain in the world today. But if we learn to come together, share our thoughts. Not only that, I mean, if you know God, because it's not going to be good if you deny him in front of your friends. Like Jesus said, you deny me in front of them, I'm going to deny you when you get in front of my Father. Let's not deny him. I can't deny him. I couldn't. I never could. I've seen the most wildest things happen in life, and I know pretty much the stuff that can be out there in the streets and stuff, but we can't you know um escape God's plan. So if you felt like Jonah, I hope this inspire you to let you know that stop running. There's no need to run no more, because what God is trying to do, like have us do, and what it's gonna do, it's gonna be beautiful. We just gotta walk through the steps and gotta trust this process. Ladies and gents, my name is Terrell. Again, moments in truth. My life, my story, real talk. Please, stay tuned. There's plenty more that will come, that I will be speaking on certain issues, and letting you know a lot of me through these moments in truth. And just understand, God has a plan for your life. He got a plan for mine. So if I was a dude that was out there ripping and running and around with the ladies and around in the street, running with the bros, and you know what that is as far as the code go, and everything else, don't you know that he still grabbed me out of that anyway? Because he was trying to save me. Because when there's too much good in you, you can't let it go to waste. Y'all be blessed. Moments in truth. Really.